Welcome to the Podium. This is a Stats and Fats production all about motorsports. I'm Jim Rouse. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Podium. This week we're talking racing etiquette and IndyCar updates. Let's fire up those engines. Well, let's talk a little bit about racing etiquette then. In the FIA Karting World Championship Finals, you've probably seen the video by now. Luca Corberri ends up tackling a driver after the race because of an incident during it. But don't forget, before that, he also threw his bumper at that driver, and of course in a go-kart, you are completely exposed. That could have been devastating to the health of that driver, could have seriously injured or killed him. So a terrible decision there by Corberri to take those actions, even the tackling in the paddock, just awful decision-making. And I understand the ramifications of this. This could lead to making it up into the junior categories and eventually to Formula One, but when you do something like that, you're never going to make it. When you go to the karting track, people, please, just have a good time. You're not there because you're making it to the next level. You're there to have fun. This is different. This is competitive, professional karting. But remember, when you go to the karting track, don't act like Corberri or the video that probably came out about a month ago where the guy ran somebody off the track because he had bumped him. Don't be like that. Have a good time at the karting track and make it civilized. That's what we're there for. Over in IndyCar, a couple of driver substitutions happened for the doubleheader at the Harvest Grand Prix at the Indy Road Course. Oliver Askew was one of the drivers out. He is suffering from concussion symptoms from August Indy 500. He finally realized that it wasn't going away, so he stepped out of the car as Helio Castroneves came in as the super sub, of course trying to make it to a 2021 IndyCar ride after losing his sports car deal with Penske. Zach Vyncke was pulled out of the Andretti number 26. Team and driver said the move was mutual, but the reports say no, it wasn't. That was an ugly deal that happened behind the scenes, and Vyncke out of the car early. That car, of course, 20th and points, second to last to full-time drivers, and teams need to stay in the top 22 in owners' points for the $1 million bonus from the Leader Circle program. James Hinchcliffe, driving through the last three races as an audition in that 26, didn't have too bad of a weekend and kept the car up in the top 20 in points. Sebastian Bourdais driving the AJ Foyt number 14 for the rest of this year and next year, and he did his part to keep that car out of the 23rd spot in owners' points. Again, so these bottom three cars we're looking at, that's Bourdais in the 14, Marco Andretti in the 98, and Connor Daly in the 20. Those are the bottom three as we head to St. Pete in a few weeks, and they will be trying to avoid being last, because that $1 million could be 15 to 25% of a team's budget. For Andretti, it'd be devastating as he's the only full-timer of those three. Bourdais and Daly, their cars were shared among two or three drivers, so that'd be really bad for Andretti. For Connor Daly, it could determine if he gets that full-time car next year or not, because Ed Carpenter's still going to want to run the ovals. That $1 million could be the difference between Carpenter having the money to run a third team for himself at the Indy 500 and other races and not having that. So I believe it's just 6 points separating the three. So it's really going to be about who finishes the lowest of those three, who doesn't make it into the Leader Circle top 22 for the budget. Going to be interesting to watch IndyCar at St. Pete, not just for that battle at the back, but at the front. Scott Dixon, 17th, should clinch his 6th championship, but didn't have too great of a weekend at Indy. If Newgarden had been able to finish a little bit higher on the Sunday race after winning, or Saturday race, after winning the first race on Friday, championship could have really tightened up. So lucky for Dixon there, and also that it's not double points. That'll be a fun championship October 25th at St. Pete for IndyCar. Time to answer some fan questions. We'll start here with Billy. He asks, will there be any more IndyCar silly season surprises? Well, we kind of went over some of the weird ones, and I think that Vyncke deal was kind of wild, but we knew he wasn't coming back for 2021, and that's really all about the leader's circle payment. There are some rumblings that Daly may even get an Andretti ride, but I think it's for Hinch to lose that 26 car. The only wrinkle I see is if Ryan Hunter-Reay can't secure funding or decides to retire. Then I think Hinch and Daly take those 2 cars, but I think Connor's best bet is that number 20 car and that Ed takes a 3rd car over at ECR. Next up, at DarkSoul84. Why do you have that handle? That's terrible. Who do you think finishes 4th in the World Championship? Maybe Ferrari? Oh, you meant the driver's title. Well, we know it's Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen top 3, so good question. Ricciardo's peaking in that Renault, but it seems like Lance Stroll's the most consistent and can grab quite a few of those 4th place finishes that will ultimately go towards getting that 4th in the championship, so I'll go with Lance to prove he deserves that Aston with Sebastian Vettel. And then finally, at Gearboy2849 asks, well, Chase Briscoe got his 8 wins. Does he get the cup ride he said he would get if he got the 8 wins? I find it interesting that Clint Bowyer isn't signed yet for next year. And as long as Chase gets to Phoenix into the Final Four in that 98 car, I think he gets either the 14 or the 32, which would then get a lot of SHR support. Remember, Corey LaJoie has also announced that he is not going to be back in that 32 car, so that would make sense. Now, let's head down to the podium. In 3rd place, Rafael Lessard. His teammate had made the playoffs, but he did have more experience in the series than Lessard does. However, Rafael has come on strong as the season has progressed, and now he's done what Christian Eckes couldn't, well, so far. Win a race. I know it's Talladega, but it still means a lot for the Canadian driver, and may be what helps earn him a 2nd year in that 4 truck. Good job, Rafael. Well deserved. In 2nd place, Marcus Lemonis. After Mellow Yellow, the Coca-Cola company, ended their contract early as title sponsor of the NHRA, things were looking bleak. But leave it to Marcus Lemonis to step up and sponsor the series and help keep it afloat. Lemonis and Camping World Gander Outdoors have been a vital part of motorsports over the past 15 years, much like the tobacco companies were in the 20-25 years before now. And the sport is much better for his involvement. Thank you, Marcus, for all you do for motorsports. And in 1st place, anyone who left Talladega in one piece and without getting black flagged. What an absolute shit show this week. I'm using this time to whine about the Talladega races. The trucks had to yellow because of Austin Hill's truck on fire, and I understand that. That's the right call. But on a 2.66 mile track, why can't we just throw the yellow from turn 2? Finish the race, slow down for the wreck in turn 3. Same for the Xfinity Series after Jesse Little went head on into the wall. Totally understand why the yellow comes out. It needs to, but they've got over almost a mile and a half to slow down before the wreck. Come on, we can do better than that. Then the Cup race, where apparently the 21 was forcing the 20 car in 5th place down into the 17, which supposedly put Hamlin under the yellow line. Alright, good call into Benedetto. He did force Byron under the yellow line, even though Byron drove him all the way up to the wall. And Hamlin... See, the thing is, Hamlin passed Byron and DiBenedetto partially under and definitely because of going under the line. I understand the 17 and 20 forced him under. The 24 and 21 were not forcing him under on that pass that Hamlin made from 5th. The right call to me was the 11, 21, and 20 would be penalized. The 11 for passing 2 cars under the yellow line without being forced by them, the 21 and the 20 for forcing cars under. But NASCAR wasn't going to have Ty Dillon win the race. He was 4th across the line, by the way, since he's not in the playoffs. Scott Miller, competition director for NASCAR, says they'd tear more cars up without the yellow line rule. But I think every car that but Hamlin and some of the very small teams wrecked. So he's apparently not watching the same product I am. What an absolutely terrible week for NASCAR officiating because of dumb rules or tiny tweaks that could be made to give the fans what they deserve, which is a green flag finish if you're going to go to overtime. Anyway, congratulations to anybody who finished Talladega week without a wrecked car and getting black flagged. Great job. Thanks for listening to The Podium. Remember to like and share the podcast with your friends. Don't forget you can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more at Stats and Fats Productions. Check out our YouTube channel as well, Stats and Fats Show with Fitz. Talking Hardball with the Fats will post on Wednesday nights. Hat Trick Hockey uploads every Sunday afternoon. And our main show, the Stats and Fats Show with Fitz, drops every Friday night. Again, remember to tweet your questions to us on Twitter at Stats and Fats or on Facebook, Stats and Fats Productions. And don't forget to attack that next corner.